Hello everyone, this is Digit D, and today I got another cool video for you guys. This video is more of excitement and more of me playing this game because I enjoy it and I like it a lot. And I really want to talk to you guys about a specific character in a specific video game called Honkai Star Rail. It's one of the new biggest gacha games that's just came out this year. It's pretty big and it's already exploding and everything else. But they have cool characters that I actually like about the game and everything else. And I want to talk to you guys about a specific character that just came out recently. His name is Luka, and he's part of the nihility part of Honkai Star Rail users, which makes him pretty unique and pretty cool at the same time, unless they release more characters that in part of the nihility line of status types abilities. But for his main thing, his main thing is that he is a bleed type user. He uses bleed to inflict damage against his opponents. His bleed damage is a specific ability that is either working really well or not really well. It works really good against his weakness to characters that are weak against physical. If they don't have any physical weakness, the bleed will not do a lot of damage whatsoever. So this is Luka. So let's jump into it, and I'm going to start off with his abilities, and then we'll go from there, and I can talk to you about, this is an in-depth guide, or not a guide, but more like a character explanation for me, but it's something that I really like, and I took the time to figure this stuff out. I mean, it took about 2 weeks or longer to figure some stuff out. I've been figuring stuff out all on my own without watching other videos and just doing stuff, just figuring him out just because I enjoy playing with him, and he's pretty cool. So we're going to talk about his ability, since he's nothing but a bleed character. So he has a basic attack called Direct Punch, which deals physical damage equal to 100% to Luka's attack once you get his trace up to level 6. If you're not at level 6, it will get there slowly until you actually get there. He has another advance added onto his attack that says whenever he has fighting will stacks, you can get up to like 4 stacks, and they slowly build up over time, where from him just attacking or him doing his special, it just literally builds up. But once he does an enhanced attack, where you can see right here, where he does, it hits 3 times, dealing physical damage equal to 20% of Luka's attack to a single enemy, and then using Rising Uppercut to deal 1% physical damage equal to 80% of Luka's attack to an enemy target, which is really good. Also, it does trigger his bleed stacks also, which is really cool. We're going to get to the part where he does on how he triggers the bleed. But then he also has another thing. This is a bonus effect. This is if you get his Eidolons or any of his other traces that he will lock. It says right here, this is from his traces. When using a basic enhanced attack, every hit Direct Punch has a 50% chance to increase his damage, more like he will do another punch, basically. So if you're doing, since he does 3 hits plus 1, so 4 extra hits. He's doing 4 hits total with this Direct Punch. If you get this off, he can either do up to 8 or less. It's between 4 and 8 punches he can do with that, which is really cool. I want his and then we get to his skill. His actual skill is the thing that puts on the bleed on the enemies, or you can do his technique. Yeah, his technique. If you do his technique, that will automatically put bleed on one random character that is in the match where he's fighting, and that will put bleed on one of the random enemies that he's able to do, which seems really cool. Also, I was trying to keep this video tailored to at least try to keep it around 15 minutes. I'm gonna try to at most, for the most part, but let's just get back into it. So we're going to take a look at his skill. His skill, he deals physical damage equal to 112% of Luka's attack to a single enemy target, and there's a 100% base chance to inflict bleed on them lasting for 3 turns, which is really good because bleed lasts 3 turns and you can reset it as long as you're hitting those stacks on him. It's 100% chance for this to get put on the enemy unless they are higher level. Like once you start getting to level fighting guys that's 80 and 90s, it's going to be a little bit harder to put the bleed stacks on them, but you can just raise up your effect hit rate, or anything that raises that up will make it a little bit easier to put them on there. It says they will take 24% of their max HP as physical damage over time at the start of each turn. This damage will not exceed more than 299%. This is at level 9. I got his lacerating fist at level 99. It really doesn't matter. This part here, it really doesn't matter. I've tried so many ways to increase the bleed damage, and it seems like it doesn't change when it comes to nobody with his physical without his stat weakness. But if he fights weakness people, it's pretty busted. It's pretty dangerous. I tried this out with 3,000 attack. His bleed doesn't do more damage. If he's at a lower base attack, like let's say he has 1,000 attack, his bleed will still do 5,000 or 4,000 depending on their HP, because it's depending on their HP and depending on his attack stat, which is strange. Don't know why they put it like that. They wanted to cap him to make sure he wasn't too overpowered for a 4-star character and everything else. But his second part of the skill is, if you get this, it debuffs an enemy, so it removes a buff from them, which is pretty cool. His ultimate, you automatically get 2 stacks of fighting will, 2 stacks, which is not bad, instantly. And then he puts on a single target will receive increased damage they will receive. This here, for 18% for 3 turns, will affect bleed. It will affect how much damage your bleed will do with Luka. This will affect it. His ultimate will affect it, how much it will do and how much it will go up by. So then he deals physical damage 297%, because I got this up to level 8. I got all of his traces up really high because I really wanted to do more damage with him, basically. His talent, so this is where his talent comes in. After Luka uses his basic attack or direct punch or skill lacerating fist, he receives 1 stack of fighting will, up to 4 stacks. He has 2 or more stacks of fighting will. His basic attack, direct punch, is enhanced to Sky Shatter Fist. After his enhanced basic attack, Rising Uppercut, hits a bleeding enemy target, the bleed status will immediately deal damage for 1 time equal to 80% of the original damage to the target at the start of the battle. Luka will possess 1 stack of fighting will, which is pretty darn cool. This is his talent. So once you get once you put bleed on him, you trigger with the normal punch. This is a really good way for managing your skill points that you can use for characters, because now he already put the stack of bleed on him. Now he can still punch and deal damage to the enemy to keep triggering bleed multiple times in a single fight. So you're doing this really well. He does have another thing. This is if you pull his Eidolon 1, he will get here. Takes action. The target enemy is bleeding. Increases damage of Luka by 15% for 2 turns. This will also affect his bleed damage. This will make his bleed a lot stronger and it'll deal more damage, if you understand what I'm saying. He will deal more damage with his bleed effect. This will affect his bleed. For every stack of fighting will obtain, additionally regenerates 3 energy. So he gets to regenerate 3 energy. To do his ultimate, his energy cost is 130. Then we already looked at the technique, is when you're outside and you do his technique and he does its thing. So those are his abilities. Now, so the things that I talked about that affects his bleed were his ultimate and his not technique, but talent, where you get the bonus effect. Fighting endlessly does affect it. If you were able to pull his Eidolons, I'm only pulled up to one Eidolon right here that gives him the increased damage. But if you get up to number 6, if you pulled a lot on Kafka's banner and you didn't pull Luka or whatever, or you did pull like 7 Lukas in that one time for how many pulls have you been going for, you can get his enhanced version of the Rising Uppercut, which will trigger on every punch 8% of bleed, which he will do so much more damage because he is triggering the bleed that many times between 3 hits, not 3, 4 to 8 hits triggering bleed, and it will still trigger the main bleed at the end. I haven't really done the test yet because I don't really have all E6 of Luka, so I can't really tell if it does or not, because if I did, I would really love to see if he does, because then it really would make him the strongest character that I have, that I think is really cool. For light cones, his certain light cones do affect his bleed status. I did find out if you have Pela, she has a trace that is ability where, not this one, her ultimate puts a defense reduced. Defense reduced enemies do take more damage from bleed because it's affecting the damage for what you can take to bleed. If you want, so you can see this is what I have on him so far. I have 8/8. I'm on 9. I am working on his stuff to make himself even stronger. So that's what I'm doing. Relic wise. Relic wise, this is where I decided to go, instead of more attack stat, instead of what I'm going here, and it's because they do have a trial version so you can actually test him out and see how strong he is. They put him against a level 80 person. They add Shu Shang and Natasha, and you get to see what he can do against a flame enemy. But I'm going to show you what he could truly do against other enemies, even though it's just, I'm just showing you off what I can show you from what I've been doing to practice and to see what he can do solo with no help from no one. That'd be no one, no other person in his team. That just him. I can clear if you're just trying to mess around with stages, I can go through all certain stages through one. But I decided to go with the break effect route. I want his break effect even higher. I just got to put on a specific item or specific relics to get there, and I'll be there. So I went with break effect. But also his physical damage boost does affect how much bleed damage you do. Bleed damage is affected by your physical damage boost, and there's only one relic that is able to give you physical damage boost, and that's it. That is the only one, and you can get it at level 15 or whatever. So those are it. So back to the light cones. Specific light cones. I went through and tried all the light cones that I can to figure out which ones is his strongest light cones that make the bleed the strongest. The ones that are the strongest from what I've seen so far is the Good Night Sleep Well, because for every debuff the target has, the damage dealt by the wearer increases by 18%, stack it up 3 times. So the more, if you got Luka in a team with 2 other characters, that be Sampo or Kafka, if you have them both in the party, or someone else, Serval or Hook, or Asta, because they can do bleed, or Himiko, any of them could do any damage over time, and they're considered debuffs, his damage will be increased 18% if you get your superimpose up a little bit higher. Mine is at 3, so it's going to be at 18%. Another good weapon to use is In the Name of the World. It increases damage to debuff enemies by 20%. So as long as they're debuffed, the damage will be higher. So this is the second one that does the highest amount of damage that I've done with bleed. I'm not talking about his basic physical damage. I'm just talking about bleed status damage. For Mata, this increases his break effect. You can make his break effect even stronger. But the other part barely affects his bleed at all. It doesn't really... I tried multiple times, but so... The best equipments that I'm using on him, I switch between We Will Meet Again. This weapon does do damage twice. Where you can... it will do, like, if he's doing the uppercut as the final punch, it will do double damage. Or if he's doing his special, where it's Lacerating Fist, it will do double damage, but it doesn't trigger the bleed twice, so it doesn't do that at all. But if they do have double stacks of bleed, it will trigger the both stacks of bleed on them. So right now, the one I have right now on him is Eyes of Prey, because it does increase his effect hit rate, and it increases the actual damage over time for bleed. This does affect bleed in a big way. So this affects bleed, this affects bleed, and this affects bleed. This one would affect bleed because it does decrease damage, but it's only for a turn, and only if they have the status effect on them, because the status effect only lasts for one turn. It falls off pretty fucking fast when it gets back to them. So you decide to do a fight with an enemy, and you, let's say you're doing the rapid punch, his one punch, it does stack on him because it hits like 4 times, between 4 to 8 times. It will put the ensnare defense on him for a turn, and if he's already bleeding, the next turn the bleed will do a little bit significant more damage to the person. Also, when he triggers the bleed, it will do another significant more damage to him. But right now, I have all of these light cones, and this is what I've been doing. I did take photos of everything that's true for just figuring out bleed. So I went that. This is the only relic that can only get physical damage boosts, and none of the other stuff can. None of them can get it. None of these other ones can get it. This can get, if you wanted to get his thing up to like 3,000 attack, you can get attack on here, you can get attack on here, and then you can get attack on here, and then you can get attack on also the armor piece. There's like, you can get 1, 2, 3, 4 attack buffs on him to get your attack up to 3,000 or more, but it doesn't affect bleed though that much. I've already done it at 3,000, and I keep going back and forth between this and this. I'd rather do more break, because his break effect has a different type of bleed status that you do get, and it does significantly a lot more damage. So I wanted to keep this video to at least about 15 minutes, but I'm a little bit higher, over 20. So I'm going to show you what I can do with him. It's pretty cool. So I'm just mostly just do the Forgotten Hall stuff, just replay stuff. This is in the normal. I haven't completed the last one, but it doesn't matter. I'm just showing you. I'm just trying to show you Luka, because once I'm done with Luka, I'm going to start moving on to other characters that I think is pretty cool in the game, because I really do like this game a lot. So we're going to do this one. At the beginning of each cycle, increase weakness break efficiency for each ally's next attack by 50%, which is pretty cool. You would think break effect does afflict, mess with your damage over time. It doesn't mess with the skill damage over time. It messes with the break effect damage over time. So that's the difference of what it does. But I just want to show him off against level 52 guys. You're like, oh, he's all by himself. He should get his ass whooped, right? Right. I'm just going to show you what I mean, that I can do a lot of damage with him pretty easily with the way I have him set up and everything else. So we have it in slow-mo, but I'm gonna put it on speed just for you guys. So, but I want to show you the damage. So look, we're gonna do the lacerating fist, but he was already had bleed status on him. It did 6,005. His bleed did 6,005, which is not. It was actually really good, actually. A really good amount of damage and everything else. But I want to show you how much damage you can do with break, which is really cool. I know this is very slow. I'm doing slow, but this is also his single punch. He did 8,000. Did total of 8,000, and now he died. This dude is dead. 100%. Did 30,000. He did 30,000 with that, and it was over. It was old time. Also, the cool thing about him is, so I'm gonna do this normal punch here to this guy. It will do a weakness break on him, but it will also put the bleed status on him when it does the weakness break, and it will trigger the bleed status on top of that, which is pretty cool. But his HP is at full, so we're gonna just see. It did 13,000. Since it didn't trigger the bleed because we already did the maximum amount of damage we can do to that dude. So, it looks like my characters, I will die. It doesn't look like I'll be able to beat this in no time. Pleasure. And there we go. We just like, oh wow, we completed that in this one. And then I'm gonna just fight this dude for you guys too. Just to show you what I can do. It's number 9. I know. He mostly just defeated all of them. So you can see at the very bottom over here, he doesn't have any stacks on. He already has bleed on and everything else. We're going to, since he already has bleed on here, we're gonna do this. We're gonna make it do more damage to him. So now we have a damage boost. He does 6,000. So the reason why, so if we take a look at here and we click here, you can see that it's fighting endlessly increases damage. But if you click the actual button here, you can see that it's actually boosting all of your physical damage boost and stuff like that. So it's boosting that up a lot. So now we just gonna do a normal punch to break his stuff. I'm doing 9,000. I just did 57,000 to him, 7,000 there, and everything else. But you can see how fast I'm doing damage to him, which is really cool. And he's all by himself, because I feel like I'm going to lose now. You can see that he's going to lose, but no, we're going to break him. My pleasure. And did 31,000. Match is over, basically. He will die probably from this guy here, but it doesn't really matter because I already completed this multiple times. Just show you. Oh, he survived. Might as well just do ultimate one more time just to show you guys. And there you go. I just beat this one, number 9, just by himself, just to show you within and everything else. So this is what he can do. If you want more tests, there is, if you want to see more of him, you could just go to the travel log, and there is an event that's going on that can show off if you teleport here. I'm gonna just show you the event, what you can do and everything in it, because you do have him. So if you do not have him, there's a few ways you can test him out. Is doing this event here, and it's on floor 1. You get him to 75. I boost everything up to 400 to 320, so he does like a godly amount of like 40,000 or more with just bleed and everything else. So or if you want to do that, you can do the other one where you do travel log and you got an aptitude showcase and you just test them out over here and you get to see what he does. So I would like to say thank you guys for checking out this 25-minute video. I wasn't trying to make it this fast, but I just wanted to show you what he's able to do what his power is and everything else and what you can do. I went the break route. You could go the attack route or anything else if you want to make him stronger, but this is my take. So if you like the video, like the video. If you want to see more stuff like this, just say something. If you don't like the video, dislike the video, whatever. But I want to say thank you guys for checking out today's second video, and I will see you guys in the next one.